if YouTube does give them a notification, because I haven't been getting any notifications.
We're live.
All right, I think we're live finally. Hi everyone, this is Chrissy, Real World Witness. I know you haven't seen me in 2 months. You probably forgot about me, but I'm still here. And tonight we are doing a little bit of a different Empower Hour tonight with, of course, our lady D and Sara Ashley. How are you, ladies?
Great.
Yeah, I'm good. It's been a good day. Good energy. Yeah.
Good. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, the last couple weeks has been hard for me, but yeah, I'm trying to get back on the swing of things, and I was just like, okay, I got to get back on the horn, back online. Let me do a show and get my feet wet again. You know, after you're gone for a while, it just kind of like, oh, I don't know, you know. Anyway, but tonight the subject is going to be pretty heavy because okay, so let me just preface this by saying I had a whole other show literally prepped and ready to go, and then at about 1 o'clock this afternoon, I think it was, I texted the girls and I said, I just keep hearing I have to talk about this Quiet on Set, this documentary. So we're going to be talking about all that stuff that's going on. Hey, Ellen Moody, how are you? This documentary. And but before we get started on all this, because there's a lot, okay, I just finished watching the documentary. So anyway, before we get going, I have a few announcements I just want to make briefly, okay? So people were asking me, all right, so obviously everybody knows I did the ComicCon a couple of weeks ago in Seattle. It was an experience, to say the very least. And ultimately, amazingly, I am still in shock over this, and I'm trying, listen, I'm not one to brag. I'm not trying to brag. I'm just saying it was a divine thing. I felt that I sold out my book. It was crazy. And I met some wonderful other writers, and I made some connections. And so, honestly, the reason that I did it, that I wanted to do it, I was going to do it even if I had to crawl on the floor to do it, was because I felt like I feel very isolated. I'm kind of out here in the boondocks, you know. I don't really talk to any other writers or anything. It's actually a really, really good experience, and ultimately I'm happy that I did it. It's taken me a couple 2-3 weeks to recover from it, but it was well worth it. So anyway, so I just wanted to tell everybody, and if you want to, you can go to my website and see a bunch of stuff over there. It's the Kirsten Kelly Chronicles.com. I guess I should put the link in, even though, all right. And then
I read it. Delphine's also read it. We loved it, didn't we, Delphine?
Yep, and I don't like anything. I don't read anymore.
And I don't read anything.
Please.
No, seriously, I haven't, I used to be an avid reader when I was younger, and I used to read fiction, a lot of fiction when I was younger. And then I got into my 30s, and I just got so much into spirituality that I stopped reading fiction, and everything I read is for spirituality or it's nonfiction. So that's the first nonfiction book. I mean, that's the first fiction book I've read, and it's actually kept my attention, and I loved it.
Well, I'm so glad. I know, and Sarah, you liked it. I was so happy that you liked it, because I was like, oh my God, I don't know what she's going to think, if it's a wackadoo or what. But
no wackadoo. You should read my stuff.
Okay, that'll be the next thing. We'll have to start publishing your stuff next.
We'll start a what should it be called? Empower Hour Publishing Company. So,
yeah, there we go. Empower Publishing. Ooh, Empower Publishing Company. I like it. Too. Who knows what's in the cards, but we'll see. So anyway, so I wanted to mention that, and then also I've been working on the website. I should probably bring it up, but I'm not gonna, because it's gonna take too long. So yeah, so I've been working on the Soul Tribe website. And okay, so this is what I'm hoping between now, probably I'm going to try and get it up and running by April, okay, as far as online, so everybody could go there and sign up. Basically, for the first little while, if you have a business, if you are a Soul Tribe member and you have a business, please email me if you want to be added to the website. For right now, I'm working on it to where we'll just have links to everybody's stuff. Okay. Eventually, I'm going to make it so that you can order stuff right from that site. So there would be like one centralized thing. So if you want to book with Lady D or Sara Ashley or, you know, whatever it is, if you want to buy stuff from Carrie Kay for her amazing stuff at her store or whatever, you could just go to the site. So for right now, it's called Soul Tribe Certified. That's the name of the site. And I'm still trying to work out a few things, but hopefully by next month we'll get at least something up so you guys can start doing that. And we are going to ask, this is the other thing I want to mention too. I'm going to ask people if they want to be a member, if they want to be on this Soul Tribe certified, to pay like, it'd be like $7 a month. I think that's how we figured it out. Is that what we said, Delphine?
Yeah. $7. Yeah, because right. Why should it come out of your pocket?
Well,
if people want to be advertising, everyone has to. There has to be an equal exchange. It has to be, you know, everyone has to pull in and pull their weight, and has to be an equal and opposite exchange, right, Sarah?
Yeah, that makes total sense because really, it's free advertising, right? It's a central hub, so. It's like by you chipping in, you're essentially just paying for the website and also the work that Chrissy did on it too.
Right.
Yeah, because it costs, it's a monthly fee to run everything, and it's a yearly fee for the domain name, and
it's not cheap. People think it's not cheap.
Yeah, it's not
and
cheap.
It's a lot. You know, you need to know what you're doing. So, yeah, nothing's for free, and you're doing your time and energy, honey. So yeah. Everyone has to.
The $7 is nothing. I think a cup of coffee is $7 now. A lot.
Yeah,
Starbucks.
And what I've done too is to sign up. What I've done is there's a buy me a coffee page for the Soul Tribe certified. I put a buy me a coffee page up, and there'll be a link on the header. You'll see it. I already set that up. So,
Chrissy, can people just pay you like upfront for the whole year? Maybe that would be more efficient for you than just like having them pay you monthly. And remember, because I know I'm so bad at that. So like for me, I pay you for the whole entire year. And then I remember, oh yeah, okay, it's March or it's April, whatever time to pay Chrissy. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, we could do it maybe both. I don't know, depending on what everybody wants. I mean, if you want to pay, I guess we could do it that way. We should talk about this because I'm not sure exactly.
Either yearly or have it automatically monthly, because otherwise you don't want to have to keep in track of who's paying their dues and who's not. That's
Well, that's true too. I don't want to have to. That's a lot of work.
Yeah.
I'll be just doing that and nothing else probably. If that. Yeah. Well, we'll
figure it out. This is the logistics. We'll figure it out. No worries.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So anyway, so that's the update on the website. And then, okay, so I know there's some people have joined us, so I just want to make sure that people understand this is a pretty heavy subject. We're going to be talking, like I said before when I started, I had a whole bunch of other stuff planned. I had it all organized and everything, and then I just kept hearing in my head, you need to talk this movie, this documentary called Quiet on the Set about Nickelodeon. So that's what we're going to talk about tonight. And then we'll talk a little bit about, we'll go at the end and maybe we'll do I want to ask Sarah about the eclipse coming up and stuff like that. So we'll deal with the heavy stuff right now, and then we'll go to sort of the lighter stuff to end the show and pull some cards and stuff. All right. So we'll start by saying, let me see here. What do I have here? Okay, so I want to play a couple of clips for you guys. Let me see. Here we go. All right, so this documentary is actually, if you have Paramount Plus, I think it's Paramount Plus.
Mm-hmm.
You can watch it. Yeah, it's Paramount Plus. So that's how I watched it. And basically what they're talking about is this these guys that are basically pedophiles, and they are allowed to be hired and work for Nickelodeon over many, many years. I mean, we know Hollywood has been painted for how many years, you know, at least since its inception, I'm sure.
Oh yeah, Shirley Temple was also a child escort. I don't want your your channel and get kicked off. So I'm going to say escort.
Yeah.
Right.
And there's videos
Baby
of
burlesque. Yep. Baby burlesque.
Exactly, Lady D. Yeah, look it up, guys. Baby burlesque. It's sickening.
Yeah. And you know what's sickening is that my mother is named after Shirley Temple because they thought it was adorable back then. They didn't see it. But now you look at it and it's so perverted and gross. You want to bark.
Yeah,
I know.
They're
it's
trying
like
to look innocent.
Oh, and some of the stuff that I have to tell you guys, when I was watching this documentary, I got nauseous. I mean, some of the crap that they've been putting on Nickelodeon is just disgusting. I can't even believe that they've been allowed to do that.
They're fetishizing. It was all fetish stuff.
Fetish.
I remember when I was younger, and this was in the 80s. This was before those particular shows were on. Okay, so those the people that are in this documentary, they weren't even on yet. Okay, so my mom said, "We're not watching this anymore," and I said, "Why?" And I was very upset because when you're like 4 or 5 years old, they're like, "Are you trying to punish me?" That's what kids always think. And she says, "Because it's about sex." And so I was very smart. I was always very precocious. I said, "Well, they didn't say the word sex. There was no naked people," because I knew sex involved naked people. That's all I knew. I didn't know the mechanics. All I knew is private parts. And she's like, I can't exactly explain to you, but they're trying to like show you sex and talk about sex without saying it and showing it. I was like, that makes no sense. You're bad. I remember getting this argument with her, but she was right. She was absolutely right. Mom, you were ahead of your time.
Oh my God. It's so, and it's so out there. Like, they are not afraid to show this shit. What I don't understand is how the parents are on the set, although, they keep the parents kind of segregated, in other areas. But even the content, if my kid was reading some of the scripts that these people were reading or having to do, and not only that, when you're a kid like that, when you're innocent, you don't understand what is being done, right?
Oh, no.
And it's heartbreaking to me. What went on here? I'm gonna play this. This is, I believe, this is the trailer for it. Okay, so we're gonna watch this. Can you guys see that?
Yes.
I hope. Okay. All right, we're gonna watch this.
In the early 90s, Nickelodeon was kid everything. And you better hope that your house had cable.
We wasn't there to educate you. We were there to have fun, to get slimed, to be entertained.
And this is when Dan Schneider arrives, Nickelodeon's golden boy. He created these shows that were hugely successful for them.
No one had ever listened to comedy starring kids for kids.
He launched the careers of child actors who became major stars. For 20 years, he shaped children's entertainment and culture.
Thank you for being here.
But that marked one of the darkest chapters. Working for Dan was like being in an abusive relationship. Dan's treatment of people on his shows was an open secret.
So my lawyer filed complaints, gender discrimination, hostile work environment, harassment, and it was so devastating.
How safe can any kids be in that environment? There would be even bigger problems down the line with actual pedophiles on set. These are 3 predators who worked at Nickelodeon, all in a short amount of time.
Wait, guys, what are you for it?
It was a toxic environment. It made me trust people less.
We were there for so many hours. You get comfortable with people until you're not.
I had no idea what I was saving my son from. It was a house of horrors.
They find this enormous trove of child pornography.
The officer said we found Ziploc bags, each one with a girl's name on it.
11 charges of child sexual abuse related to a child actor.
It made me wonder who was being hurt.
I've been waiting 17 years for today.
It wasn't dealing with anybody on the shows or anything, right?
It was a child actor.
On one of our shows.
Yes. Have you ever told your story publicly before?
right, so that was the trailer for this, and it really is eye-opening. So this guy, Dan Schneider, he produced in the night. This is all mostly in the 90s, okay? Because in the 90s is when Nickelodeon really started doing content and trying to compete, I think, with Disney, because Disney Channel was all there was, really, the Disney brand or whatever. And then as things got online and the Disney Channel, released their channel, then Nickelodeon was trying to compete with them. And this guy, Dan, he was in charge of everything. He had so much power over there. He ran like, what was it? Zoe 101, 101, Zach did a whole bunch. I forgot.
iCarly and all those.
Yeah, the Amanda Bynes show, all that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And these people, he basically is what I believe. He hates women. Okay, obviously. What he did was he never liked to have women writers. There were a couple of in the very first episode. There were a couple of writers women that were trying to break into comedy writing, and he agrees to hire them, but they had to split the salary. And but then they were treated like crap. They were given he would ask the women from like wardrobe or other areas of the set to give him back rubs. It was just disgusting. I mean, these people, this guy, and the problem is that Nickelodeon thought of him as like, almost a god over there, because he was creating these hits and generating so much money. And unfortunately, the parents, they don't have a lot of say on there. It's really frightening that stuff goes on. So, I mean, what are your thoughts? I know, Sarah, you saw it. I think, Delphine, you've seen some of it. What do you guys think about the culture over there at Nickelodeon? I mean, I feel like it's just an underlying secret cult. This is what goes on, and you're supposed to just shut up and obey and just, don't say a word.
Absolutely. Absolutely. They all knew about each other and they were supporting each other. And as long as it made money, that's all they cared about. Mm-hmm. And, I have to say that the parents, we have to hold them all accountable here, because it doesn't go on in all sets like that. That's not normal to segregate the parents like that.
Yeah.
And when they went to Brian Peck's party, the parents did see it, that he had a John Wayne Gacy.
Yes.
There from John Wayne Gacy. That should have been alarm bells right away. And also they were watching the content. So that didn't they know like something was up? I think these parents, all they cared about was the money and the lifestyle. And they just wanted their kids not to be blackballed from the industry. That's what I think.
Right. Yeah. What do you say, Delphine?
It's like we said earlier, it's been going on since Shirley Temple and the Baby Burlesque. I mean, they did that to Judy Garland. Judy Garland was passed around and they drugged her. They give her, she was a poor, adolescent girl. They say you're getting too fat, you're getting chunky. So they give her uppers, right, to speed up her metabolism. They gave her speed. And, sorry guys, I'm glitchy. I've tried everything. I'm just glitchy.
You're fine, babe. We understand.
Anyway, and they started it then, and they give her uppers, and then they give her downers. So it's been going on for years, and unfortunately, it's about the almighty dollar. And I agree with you, Sarah. Where were the parents? A lot of parents turn their blind eye because, quite frankly, they don't care about their kids. They care more about the money. Let's, for instance, the Spears family. All right, those parents should be hung, shot, and pissed on. All right. Yeah. The Spears mother and father, they prostituted their children. And unfortunately, there are a lot of parents that don't care. For instance, all those parents that let their kids stay over Michael Jackson's house, whether or not you believe he did it, I believe he absolutely did it. Okay, but it was done to him. Not saying giving him an excuse, but why do you let your kids? You never let an adult be in charge of your kids. So the parents are responsible. I think they're more responsible. I'm not saying they're more responsible.
We hear you,
but they're just as culpable because they did not protect their children.
They're an accomplice.
Right, exactly, Sarah. They're an accomplice. And it's all this fucking celebrity. Oh, it's a celebrity because they were all starstruck too. So those poor kids were totally neglected, and those kids didn't have a chance. And a lot of those kids are born in cabal families where they're ritualized since they were babies, and they, believe it or not, that's all they know. They don't know it's wrong until they grow up. And they tell people, and then people know that's not right. But when you're brought up that way, when you're brought up S-aid and to be watch people getting S-aid, abused and ritualized, that's all you know. And it's sick and disgusting. And I'm glad it's finally coming out in the open.
Yeah, for sure. And if anybody doesn't know who Gacy is, what's his name? It's John Wayne Gacy. He was the serial killer. He portrayed himself as a clown, and this Brian Peck piece of shit. He had it was a self-portrait of William of whatever Gacy.
John Wayne Gacy. And he was corresponding with him. He was corresponding with him until he was executed. I mean, of all the people in jail to correspond with when he worked with children, and he killed children.
Yeah. Yep. He raped them too, didn't he?
Yeah, he raped them, and then he asphyxiated them, and then he killed them, and he buried them in his basement.
Yep. It was just disgusting. I mean, people, this is what I don't understand. Now, since the Me Too movement, which I believe did shine a light on Hollywood big time. I mean, obviously, we all know that Harvey Weinstein was arrested. That was the one big arrest that I've seen. In my opinion, he's the only one that I've seen that's really been arrested publicly that should have been arrested. We should have been seeing way more than that. But, that was sort of the beginning of it. And I do think, because we were talking about this before, Delphine, I mean, I believe definitely that this documentary would not have been made had the head of the snake not been cut off at this point. There has to be, I think the alliance is in, I do believe the alliance is in control of Hollywood at this moment. We'll see if it stays. But it's frightening what these people do. Yeah, and then get this. So this Brian Peck piece of shit, Pickle Boy, they called him the Pickle Boy. So he would show up on all these different, on whatever show Dan Schneider had worked on. There's a whole list of them. He would show up as Pickle Boy, and they were being like sexually, like disturbing things to these kids. I mean, squirting gel in somebody's face, this potato thing. I was just like, oh my God, can you imagine? Like, I don't want my kid doing that. Like, where are the parents? Like, the parents should be saying something.
It's very perverse. I mean, now as an adult, and I understood it right away. As a kid, I was creeped out by it. I would have it on when I was babysitting, but I was an innocent, like 16-year-old virgin. I had no idea what I was watching with those kids. All I knew was it felt weird and wrong, and I didn't know why. Right.
Exactly. And that's the thing, and get this, at his sentencing. So he pled no contest to only 2 counts out of the 11 charges of sexual abuse, lewd acts with a child. He was the acting and dialogue coach for Nickelodeon and for several of the different shows. And he's the one that Drake Bell came. He's the actor, the kid that was in one of the shows. I can't think of the name right now, but anyway.
Drake and Josh, right.
And he's the one who came and actually did something. And this is the thing. I want to briefly, how do you know your child is being groomed sexually or being groomed to do these things? There are several things. People who are molesters, who like kids, or however you want to say it. I'm trying not to say the P word so often because I'm thinking they're going to probably bounce this. Basically, when I used to do sexual assault cases when I was an investigator, and I would have to interview victims of sexual assault, whether it was, rape or whatever it was, molestation.
Right.
And some of the things was that, you always ask them, how often did they get you alone? What was the touching, the feeling? How did that go? The key with these molesters is they build trust. The problem is these kids are on set. They trusted the people that were running the shows. The parents trusted the people that, even though they should be, they should know better, but they don't. And eventually it kind of, it's a slow thing. They kind of instigate themselves into insert them to these kids' lives, and they do it. It's sort of like something like, it's very gradual. So it's not like right away, but they start slow. And then like eventually this kid, Drake Bell, he had a birthday, about his 15th birthday. And he was going to invite everybody that was on the set and all this. Well, of course, this Brian Peck says, oh, we'll just have it at my house. That's a huge red flag right there. Why anybody would think that, that was normal. Why wouldn't the parents be like, no, we're going to have it here or there, control thing.
Right.
It's ultimately a manipulation and a control thing, and how these kids are manipulated into thinking that this is okay. It's really shocking.
Well, they gain the trust of the parents too.
Yes.
Right. So that's how, they get the parents to let them go over their houses and spend private time with them and go places with them alone. So I would say, as a parent, if another adult wants to spend time with my child alone, that's a huge red flag to me. It's like, no. Like, if you're not my immediate family members who I trust, and I understand there's some people who are watching this, you can't trust some of your immediate family members. I get that. But, outside of the normal family relationships, some random neighbor or something wants to just spend time with my daughter, like alone, or even a teacher or a coach just wants to, like, take her on trips or take her to the mall. That's not happening. Absolutely not.
Yeah.
It's not normal.
It's insane. And, and these kids, it's a controlling thing. And this guy, Dan, he is definitely a narcissist. I mean, they ultimately, he's a narcissist. He hates women, obviously. He did. I mean, there was major harassment going on, there. And the thing is when you're trying to break into anything like that, you don't want to rock the boat because, this guy has connections to everybody.
Right.
So of course, why would you?
I'm getting that, Dan, and I'm going to ask Delphine if she feels this way too. When I looked at his chart, Delphine, it looked like his mother was doing things to him. I'll say it that way. And also he was exposed to things by his mother that he shouldn't have. And that's why he has this distaste for grown women so much and hates them.
I'm getting it was the mother's. Did the mother cheat? Either the mother, or it could be the mother and the boyfriend.
Yeah, that's what I'm seeing too.
And that would explain why he hates women, because his mother didn't protect him.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Mommy issues. Yeah. That's resonating with me, Sarah. Yes, I'm hearing yes in my head, and not to be mean, but just look at him. I mean, he is. I don't mean to, not everyone can be a supermodel, look like a model. And listen, beauty's in the eyes of the beholder, but he's gross.
It's his eyes too. It's his eyes look dark and it's just, there's other large people like John Candy. You've never heard anything bad about him. One of my friends with his daughter, and he wasn't like that. Okay. I know that for a fact. So it's not all large men are like that. I'm not saying that.
Yeah, no, it's not. I'm not fat shaming anyone. It's like you could, like, the people that are really evil, you could see it, like they're as ugly on the inside and on the outside as they are on the inside. Like, look at the royal family. I mean,
Yeah.
it's like usually the people that are really evil. Now, I'm not saying all of them, because there are some good looking psychopaths out there.
That's
But
true. We met them.
yeah, exactly. We have.
Oh my God. I tell you, it's just, to me, this is what I don't understand is now that all this has happened, the Me Too movement, all this stuff that's coming out in the open, I mean, are they going to fundamentally finally change the tide here of Hollywood, or are we just going to go back to the underground, which is where it's been for the last however many years?
Well, I feel like it's, you know, the cat's out of the bag. There's no going back now. And if any parents would subject their kids to this without adequate supervision, they're absolutely insane. They're absolutely insane.
Yeah.
So I do feel like the tide is turning in, and it absolutely, this entertainment business is going to go back to the alliance. That's how I feel. And that's what a lot of other people have been seeing since we had the pandemic. People of the light have been seeing that it's going to go the way that it should, and it will get into the right hands.
Yeah. What say you, Delphine?
1,000%. The entertainment industry, it's all about creation. God is creative. You can't be creative without God. So the entertainment industry should all be about God. Music, art, everything is God, is creation. You can't create without God. That's why the demons, they can't create anything. And that's why they hate us, but they need us. So you'd see what Satan did. He perverted everything. So he made the entertainment industry all about false idols. Instead of idolizing and praising God, you're praising these people that they've put in front of you. Now, a lot of them are very talented. However, there's so many more better looking and more talented people than any singer, actress, whatever. It's all because they towed the line. So, or they were born into it, or they were made to. All right. So I feel like it's going to go back now that the jig is up, and we know that the alliance is pretty much, I would say, we can't say 100%, we don't know, but if with all the disclosure that's coming out about the little lovers, because I want to keep your little lovers, and the entertainment industry, it's coming out what Beyonce and Jay-Z and what Cat Williams, and it's all about what P. Diddy's doing in the music industry with Bieber. It's coming out in Hollywood, the music industry. So it's all disclosure. Like Cat Williams said, 2024, it doesn't matter who you are. If you've been bad, it's going to be revealed. And so God is going to take it back. We're going to take it back. And people that sing and dance and are in the entertainment industry, we're no longer going to idolize them. There's going to be no more celebrities. Okay, we're not going to go, because you're on television, you sing, you're the best. So I'm getting that. We're going to go back to entertainment. It's going to be all about God and love and light. And we're not going to idolize people. There's going to be no more celebrities, because that's false idols, and that's not the way it should be. We shouldn't be idolizing people because they're on screen. It doesn't make anyone better than anyone else. So I think it's going to be completely 180.
Yeah, I agree. I think that it needs to be. I mean, at this juncture, unfortunately, they've had control over the media, the entertainment industry and the media. I think that everything is breaking down. Thank God. It's going to still take time to get this thing kind of cleaned up. But there's a lot of, I think, new, more shows of the light that are not perverted and inverted and all of this coming out, and I think we'll see more as we go on. It just depends how quickly we can get things cleared out. I mean, I really don't think, like I said, I don't think that this documentary would have been done had the bigwigs been taken out, because they would have never allowed these people to come forward.
That's true. They would make them, like John Cena, go through a humiliation ritual or off all of them.
Yeah,
right. Exactly. Well, here, I wanted to show one more clip. This is Drake Bell talking about the sentencing of this motherfucker.
Peck, right?
Excuse my language. I just get so upset with these people. I can't even believe these people exist. Like, how they could do this to little kids, to kids. I don't care. This kid was, okay, so let me just background a little bit. Drake Bell was 15 years old when basically he was anything disgusting that you could think this poor kid had to live through. So I just wanted to show you what he was saying a little bit, and we'll go from there.
I think it was a little easier to go to and from a courthouse and not worry about Twitter that night or TMZ paparazzis being there. On the day of sentencing for Brian, I get to the courthouse. It was the most unbelievable thing I'd ever seen. His entire side of the courtroom was full. Full. There were definitely some recognizable faces on that side of the room. And my side was me, my mom, and my brother. Brian had been convicted, but getting all of this support from a lot of people in the industry, and yeah, I was pretty shocked. My mom got up, she had a statement. I wasn't going to address Brian. There was no reason to. I addressed my statement to everyone in the room. I looked at all of them, and I just said, "How dare you?" And I said, "You will forever have the memory of sitting in this courtroom and defending this person. And I will forever have the memory of the person you're defending violating me and doing unspeakable acts and crimes. And that's what I'll remember."
I mean, how heartbreaking is that? I mean, it's unbelievable, seriously, like what this kid went through. And the thing that's interesting about Drake Bell is this, you know, his parents had gotten a divorce when he was like 4 or 5 years old. And his father sort of, you know, he liked being in, you know, acting and all this. So he would take him on all the after school, he'd take him to all these auditions and this and that. And he became sort of his manager. But by the time he was 15, this Brian Peck character, he had basically built a wedge in between Drake and his father, and basically saying, "Oh, you don't need him to be a manager. You don't need." And so his father could see Brian Peck on the set, how he was touching his son, and he didn't like it, and he tried to like say something. And then what did Brian Peck do? He just kind of extricated the father out of the relationship, and the kid went back to his mom, and then basically the mom didn't want to drive him in the morning, you know, and all this. So that Brian Peck did. So he was always over at his house overnight. And when it started, he had been, you know, working late. I don't know. He said something like, you know, got out late and he was sleeping on the couch, and then all of a sudden he woke up and this guy was doing whatever he was doing to him. But what do you do when you're 15? What do you do? Who do you tell? Like he didn't know what to do. He didn't have any place to go, no recourse. This guy had power over him. And that's another thing that's a huge thing. You know, when kids have been molested or, you know, any kind of sexual assault, it's usually the person that's perpetrating it has some major control over the child. And so they don't feel comfortable. They feel like it has to be, if I say anything, I'm going to get in trouble, kind of a thing. And that needs to end. It's
yeah. And what I'm thinking like is this too, like when it was going on, he was like, I have the show with my name on it, Drake and Josh. Yeah. And I'm responsible for all these people's salaries. And if I tell now Drake and Josh is going to end, and Josh is going to lose his job, and all the people on set are going to lose their jobs. And it was like he was carrying this enormous burden, which is so unfair for anybody, especially a child. That's just not right.
Right. And he's probably, paying for his family too, right? Because they make a lot of money.
Absolutely.
So it is. But you're right. It's the way you described it, Chrissy. It isn't an insidious, like they ingratiate themselves, and they're always there, and it's so insidious and disgusting. And
yeah, they were saying too. Some of the other kids were saying, some of the actors too that they interviewed were saying, "Oh no, he would play games with us, so video games. He was always hanging out with us." In his office or in the room or whatever, and that's how they do it. And they make it seem like it's normal. And that's the other thing. They make it seem like it's a normal thing. And for kids, especially, let's just say under 12, they don't know any better. And so that's why I just want to segue briefly into the whole education system. That's why this whole push to basically show kids porn, basically is what they're doing in elementary school as sex education. They want to, the whole goal, this is all, in my opinion, Hollywood driven, far left liberal, driven, that they want to legalize the P word. They want to legalize it. Like, it's okay. It's not okay.
Yeah, they call themselves MAPS, minor attracted person.
Oh yeah, minors. Come on, people. And I think the more that these stories come out, I'm hoping that the parents start standing up, because the only way this shit stops is if parents stand up. You see something, you fucking open your mouth. And I'm sorry if it's uncomfortable and you don't want to go to the board, the school board, or you don't want to go here, you don't want to go there and start anything. It's your childhood. Do you want them to? We're already these kids. I was the most innocent 18-year-old that could be on the planet. Okay, I was so protected. Like, what these kids have to deal with today, it's just mind blowing to me. My niece tells me about her daughter who's 7, and I go, oh my God, they have to deal with this and that. It's mind blowing, and they think that they're trying to make it the norm, and that's the problem with this society. And social media has a lot to do with it too. These kids are just put so much pressure on them. It's just outrageous. I don't even know what it is.
They're not allowed to be kids anymore.
Yeah. And what happened to that? When you're carefree, you don't even think of, like, we never even thought about that kind of shit. Are you kidding? I didn't know nothing until I moved to Florida when I was 18. Then it was like, wow, this is the real world. Where have I been?
Just like they've been insidious with, like, the predators. They're insidious about ingratiating themselves in the family. Just think about it. First, when we were growing up, I grew up in the 70s and 80s. There was always one parent home. Yeah, back then, like, one salary could pay for like a family of 4. So and back then, usually it was the father that worked, right? He was the breadwinner, and the mother would work part-time or stay at home. But that's what it was. Slowly with the women's lib. I'm not putting down women's lib. Okay, I'm not putting down feminism, women's lib, because I don't think we should be barefoot and pregnant. I'm not saying that. However, what they did is they broke up the family. Yeah. They made it so that it wasn't affordable, and then mothers needed to do work. When they took the mother out of the house and made it so that 2 parents had to work just to survive, that was the downfall. So what happened is that when the parents were too busy working, and when they came home, they'd be exhausted. They weren't. It wasn't apparent to be at home, to go to, like, PTA, because a lot, like, my mom would go to the school. There would be volunteer days, and so
my mom too.
Right. So when you have parents that are working so much, and by the time they get home and they're stressed and they're working, and it's all about, paying the bills, working, taking care, cooking, taking care of the home. What's happened is that they're less and less involved with their kids. And now it's more, what happened is now, and then there's daycare. And then it's starting even younger now. Now it's like parents, it's like you're giving your kids to strangers when they're young. Before, when I was growing up, your mother stayed home and they didn't start working until the parent, like when we were like in elementary school. For me, it was like middle school. My mom got a part-time job, and then when I was like 12, 13, she started to work full-time. But now, because everything's so expensive, right? So now both parents have to work, and that's still not enough money. And now you're paying like most of your salary to childcare. So what has happened is that they've separated the family. They took the mother away from being the major caregiver, which is bullshit. And so so now they split the family up, and now you're paying for other people to bring up your kids.
Oh yeah. And then you're so busy and stressed that you're not noticing what's going on with your kid. And a lot of these kids who are daycare kids, they're always sick. They're always upset because there's multiple different caregivers going in and out, in and out. It's not like a school, okay, when there's one teacher for the whole entire year. You know, once in a while there's a substitute, but they have the music teacher, the gym teacher, the art teacher. It's not a set, it's a revolving door in daycare. They get paid basically nothing. I worked at a daycare when I was going to school to become a teacher, and I left in 3 months because I couldn't take it. It was an awful environment for children. It's unnatural, and all of them are sad all the time. It was just awful. It was just inhumane. In my opinion, it was inhumane. So that's what I did. Okay, when I have a child, they're not going to daycare. My daughter did not go to daycare. She didn't go to school. Like, it was like she went to preschool a little bit when she was 4. And then when she was almost 5, she went to pre-K all day from like 8 o'clock to 3 o'clock while I worked because I went back to teaching again. So she was fine because she was, she was right there. She went to the same school I taught at too. So I was able to see her and I could track, what is her mood like. But when your kid is with multiple different babysitters, believe it or not, a lot of parents that I know, they're just like, okay, Facebook and their whole entire friend list or like a mommy group. I need to go run an errand. Who can watch my kid? Just anybody off of Facebook.
I can't even imagine doing that.
Like anybody, a warm adult body, or just I'm going to drop my kid at this person's house who's an in-home daycare, and it's like, how do you know? You don't know. So they drop them off. Like I wouldn't even drop my dog off at a random person's house.
Me either. I wouldn't leave my cats to somebody.
Right.
Just, here, take my cat. I mean, it's crazy. I know my niece Taylor, she's got 2 little girls. And, it is, first of all, daycare is very expensive. She lives in Salt Lake City. She said, and my mom, of course, she was home. I mean, up until my youngest, my brother Michael, he was the youngest until he started kindergarten, and then she only got part-time job, so she was home. By the time we got home from school, my mom was home, so we didn't have that. But Taylor, it's so funny because my mom's like, you should just get a job. She doesn't understand like having a career and working towards something. But anyway, but Taylor's like, well, listen, what good is that if I'm gonna let's just say if I get a job for $15 an hour and I'm working full time, it all goes to the daycare, and then I never see my kids, and it's like it's ridiculous. So she stays home and she's doing her real estate
Good
stuff
for her.
weekends. So
that's the best way. And they're so much healthier that way too, because I know like my friends who are teachers, back then, and I think it's still the same, would make like $45,000 a year. Okay. So you only have like 10 sick days. And I know we get a lot of time off as teachers, but when they're in daycare, they're always sick. So then you're going to start getting doc pay. So let's say you're giving about half of your paycheck already after taxes to the daycare. And now you're only making like really like $20,000. So to me, it's like, this is not worth it to even do this like monetarily. I'll just stay at home. And I did tutoring. So when my husband came home, when my daughter was an infant till about 4 years old, I had a client who I tutored a few times a week. And I didn't make too much money, but I think I made more money than if I would have taught, because all my money would have gone to the daycare and sick days. So it isn't worth it at all.
And you got to bring up your child instead of paying someone else to bring up your child.
Exactly. That was the best experience.
That. And it's awful what they did to mothers. It's awful.
Yeah.
And now,
Go ahead, Delphine.
Oh no, and I'm saying, you know what they did too to women? Talk about the war on children and the war on women. Now they make women feel, and it's like, well, you know, they make fun of mothers that can afford to stay home. Oh, you don't have a career? What are you? Oh, you're a stay-at-home mother. In other words, like you don't do anything. It's like when did that start? Why should you be made to feel bad because you stay at home? You're a stay-at-home mother. That's not the way it should be. That's the way it should be. It should be that way. That's the way
it was the best experience, even though it was exhausting. See, it's actually a lot of work. It's actually a lot of work. It was absolutely exhausting. But you know what? I wouldn't take back that time for anything. It's like sometimes I wish I can go back in a time machine and spend that time with my daughter when she was like 3 years old. It was the sweetest time. And now she's 12 and, you know, she's like, get away from me. So
the teenage years are upon you.
Exactly. She still likes me.
Yeah. But that's what they did. They've been like separating the family.
Yeah.
You know, and so that's how they insert themselves. It's been a war on the family, war on women, war on children. And yeah, but I don't think the cat's ever going to go back in the bag now. I mean, it's just, how do you, now that we know?
I don't know. Like I was saying go ahead, Sarah.
Yeah. Because everybody's seeing it through a different lens now.
Yeah.
Everyone's seeing every movie, every TV show, every advertisement, every sports game, every concert through a different lens. They're looking at it through a critical lens. They're awake now.
Yep.
The hypnosis is over. So this is the year. It is, and it's been going on now. The hypnosis is completely broken.
Yeah.
I see it amongst all different people, different races, different ethnicities, different age range, different socioeconomic. It's everybody, all different political backgrounds too. So it's not just us anymore. Oh, these crazy QAnon people. It's like, I'm not a crazy QAnon person. That's not what it is. I'm just a person who sees the truth. And that's where we're all at now. We're all seeing it together. So we're collectively witnessing the truth. That's it.
Exactly. And it's so easy now to see how they do these stories. Like, and I remember I texted you guys. I'm like, it was Mitch McConnell's sister-in-law supposedly drowned in a pond. I mean, they showed this picture of a pond, which was not even very, the back of the car was, ass in the air. I'm like, I just don't see that. I think she was either, in her luxury bunker hiding out, or maybe she's in witness protection. She was going to testify, or, I just don't think that she died. I just don't. The story is bullshit. You can just see it. Some of these stories, you'd going like, really? They expect you to believe that shit?
It just doesn't add up. If it doesn't add up, it's not real. That's it. If it doesn't add up, if it doesn't seem to make sense, then it's nonsense.
Right. Exactly.
Is that the one that was the shipping heiress that was charged of the shipping? Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you know what she was doing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Shipping something.
Something. Well, yeah, and you know what? I'm hearing, I was watching, I think it was Amanda Grace. She had a word from the Lord in, I think it was December of this year. Anyway, I just saw it recently. And they're saying that, the railroad thing is going to come out. The railroads, what they've been like, there's so many things that are going to come out this year. It's going to be crazy. But I think ultimately, to wrap up this segment briefly, all I want to say is, if you want your kid in the entertainment industry, I suggest you hire an investigator to do background on every single person that is on that set. That is the best way to do it. And when I say a background search, I mean you go and you have people to go and talk to their family, their neighbors. I don't care how extensive it needs to be. If they're working with kids, your child, it's just the way it needs to be. I really feel like these Nickelodeon, all these channels that have kids working for them, that's what they should be doing. They should be having investigators do extensive background on everybody. And I mean everybody, the stagehands, camera guys, who from wardrobe all the way down to the set designers, everybody. There should be a no tolerance for that kind of crap. And if anybody is accused, they should be fired immediately and turned over to the cops. That's how I believe it. I mean, honestly, and I told you guys this. I mean, I really feel like they should, anybody that's found guilty of doing anything with kids, I think they should be castrated. That's my feeling. I think the whole thing would be solved very, very quickly if they realized that they were going to get castrated. Maybe that would be what needs to be done.
Yes, I think some of them would be too afraid, but the problem is, why do they want to do this in the first place?
Right.
That's the problem. And that needs to be figured out. Why are these people so sick? Because most people don't want to do sick things. Most people just want to go on with their day and live a quiet, peaceful life. And yes, do they want to get freaky with their significant other and do whatever? That's fine.
Right.
But it's between two consenting adults. But that weird stuff, why? I think psychologically that needs to be investigated.
Yeah, I agree. What say you, Lady D?
I think anyone who has those feelings and has the impetus or the inclination to do that to a child is evil, and they've been brought up evil. I don't think anyone's born being a P. I think it's learned behavior, and I think it's all starts back from those bastard demons, those fallen angels that came down here. It's all stems from them. Not one of God's children would ever think to do that to a child. It's unnatural. It goes against anyone who has a heart or a conscience. It's completely demonic and satanic. That's where it starts. It's pure evil, and it's learned behavior. It's not natural.
And have you noticed this, Delphine, that these evil people, everybody could just tell they're evil, but they try to come off as, oh, we're so charitable, we're so nice.
Yeah.
Always the people who want to work with kids and animals, and you get to see it on them. And if you get that feeling, if it's in your gut and it looks like a duck, it walks like a duck, it talks like a duck, it's a duck. I just like the StreamYard duck right here. Okay, see, it's a reminder. I know that some people just want to push it away. Like, well, everybody else likes them. Shouldn't I like them too? No, you stand up for your own kid, because I've had to do it before too, where I'm like, no, something's not right. And eventually something comes out about this person that they were doing something. And like, thank goodness I listened to my gut. So it doesn't matter how famous they are, how rich they are, how popular they are, how powerful they are. Just listen to your gut all the time. It can never steer you wrong.
1000%. You know, I don't have any children, but if I had children now, I'd be on them. I'd be like a helicopter parent, because it's really disconcerting knowing how many child predators there are out there.
It's scary, man. Let me tell you, there was a thing, my niece, they were living in this this horrible apartment. Anyway, and there was this couple that lived upstairs, and they tried to lure her daughter, who was 5 at the time. The guy did. And Taylor, and what happened was, Taylor was, I can't remember, she was home, and she didn't like the guy. I remember she didn't like this couple. They would like come around. They were always like trying to like get her daughter, you know, kind of by themselves and all this. Anyway, needless to say, thank God they moved out of that area. But she was like, and Riley, her husband was like, hell no, you know, you're not allowed to go anywhere unless you're with mom or me, you know, no. So, I mean, there's all kinds of stuff all over the country. And the time now is to stand up. I think that's what the message is for this segment, is just, we have to stand up, and you have to say something, and you have to get involved. It's the only way. And you know what? We're supposed to protect the children. End of story. And you know, that's the message tonight, I guess I would say. What about you?
Yeah. Stop being distracted. Parents need to stop being distracted and focus on their children.
Yeah.
Put down the fucking phones. The parents are worse than the kids. I go outside and they're on their phones walking their kids. They go out to dinner. All of them are on their phones. I feel like saying, why the fuck are you going out to dinner? You're all on your phones. Put down the phones.
They're missing important moments. People are missing important moments.
Yes.
Right. I expect it for the kids and the teenagers, but the parents they have their snoggins in the phones. Put down your fucking phones and bring up your kids.
Right.
How about that? How about pay attention to your kids? Who cares about Facebook and Fuckbook and Instagram and TikTok and
all this stuff? Social media needs to be taken out. I mean, honestly, I mean, we're all on social media. I get it. I don't like it. I mean, you know, you guys see me. I do what I call it. I call it a flyby. I'll go there and I'll post something.
Well, I mean, Delphine and I need to use it in order to have exposure, right? Because of what we do. So people who are, you know, content creators, you know, they have to use it. But also, you know, parents need to make sure that they're monitoring what their kids are doing on their phones, what they're watching. My little niece was watching YouTube Kids and some gross stuff went in the Peppa Pig. Like this guy was stabbing and talking about sex. And it just went through the YouTube Kids. It was like a fake Peppa Pig. There's fake My Little Pony with the My Little Ponies are eating each other and R-wording each other. There's a lot of disturbing content out there. So you have to make sure you know what your kids are watching. So make sure they don't have access to YouTube. They can Netflix Kids, at least you'll know, okay, it's for kids. It's, you know, it has to be rated from like I think like a third party, okay? An objective third party. So you're not going to see gross things like that. So don't let them have access to YouTube. Just no YouTube, especially if they're like 12 and under. No YouTube whatsoever.
Definitely.
Social media and the phones are really, you know, I understand, you know, this is parents can know where their kids are with the phones, but social media now with the phones, it's like no one's paying attention, and there's just the internet is just a P files paradise, you know.
It is.
Oh my God. You know, it's just, parents have to really, really watch where their kids are in the internet. I would use your parental controls. I would know everything what my kid is doing. You know, it's nowadays it's like parents can't afford to just be status quo and just take it for granted that other parents are going to have the right intentions. Unfortunately, we're awake now. Oh, where did Chrissy go?
Oh, bye, Chrissy. It's just Delphine and I know. She'll be back later.
But I mean, and it's so sad because growing up, we never thought about, I mean, we knew that we knew that it happened, but I guess we didn't know how prevalent it was, huh, Sarah?
No, we didn't know. We had no idea. And I think it's because we grew up without the internet for the most part. You know, it came on when we were teenagers.
Right.
So, you know, we were already kind of wise to these things.
I'm back.
So there you are.
Hi, Chrissy. You kind of
anyway, go ahead.
Yeah. There was a point I was going to make about
the internet. We were talking about how you have to watch what your kids are doing and they're on the internet. Something about the internet. They're just exposed to so much nowadays. You know, when we were growing up, you had to go and be 18 and to watch porn. You had to go and rent it. You know, it was hard. If you now it's just like that's another thing. It's like everything. Kids are exposed to so much nowadays.
It's all out there.
Everything is out there. It's really bad. Kids are not allowed to be kids. I mean, they're made to perform, you know, task. You have to be this. You have to do this. It's like, let kids be kids.
Yeah, just let them play. Let them have innocence. And then the adults too, you know, they have these mommy pages, these mommy vloggers on TikTok and YouTube. I'm not talking about, these are for my friends and family on Facebook, you know, who live far away. Like, look at the milestones or whatever. No, it's just they're constantly taking videos of their kid in the diaper, in the bathtub. And this one woman on TikTok, she's a P-file investigator. She said that most of the subscribers to those TikToks and those YouTubes are men.
Oh,
not other moms, men, because it's free corn.
What I don't get, I just cannot wrap my head around. I've never been able to do this. I don't understand how a grown man can be attracted to a little kid. I don't understand that. And as long as I live, I don't understand. Like, where you've got to have a fucking wire crossed. It's the only, either that or you're demonically possessed. I mean, it's the only thing.
It's both. It's both.
It's so weird. I'm like, why wouldn't you even, a little kid, 5, 7 years old, like, what the hell is your problem? And the problem too is that, unfortunately, because of the internet, honestly, I mean, we're on the internet, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I like the internet, don't get me wrong. But honestly, you know, they talk about, you know, Starlink and all this, da-da-da. Honestly, why do we should just go back to 85, no internet. I mean, you know, it just seems like it was so much simpler back then. I mean, when I think about it, when I was a child, I mean, okay, so computers were just coming out, you know, we started using them, and I started using them in college, but you know, it's crazy to me that this is where we're at in this society. It's outrageous, and I don't know. I don't even know. I just think social media is the death of society, and YouTube and everything else it enables these sick assholes to do this kind of crap, and it just continues.
Well, look who started social media. It was a three-letter organizations.
Right.
Mm-hmm. It always goes back to them.
Yep.
Always goes back to them.
Especially the one that begins with the C. We're not gonna say it.
Yeah, we're not gonna say it, but
because they're in charge of ScrewTube, but you know what I'm talking about.
It is ScrewTube, that's for sure. Yeah, this will probably be taken down, but oh no, we can watch somebody getting whatever else on there, you know. It's like,
I know. It's just so crazy. Like, I did this video. It's just some cute video. You know that George Michael, Too Funky at the beginning? She's like, would you like me to seduce you? And I always love that. I love George Michael. Like, I love
George Michael.
I feel like connected to him. I don't know what it is. Yeah. Who knows why? Anyways, I love him. So I used that song for Venus and Capricorn a couple of months ago, and they're like, this is sexually explicit material. I was like, because I was wearing a turtleneck dress. Okay. I look cute, but it was not sexually explicit. But like, there's girls with like their ass cheeks literally like in the camera, and that's okay. So like, okay, whatever.
You can't do that. You can't have that. I mean, it's so ridiculous. It makes no sense.
No, it doesn't. I got in trouble because I showed the lover's card, and my lover's card has they're naked, and I used it as like a thumbnail, and they took it down. They're like, that's sexually explicit. I'm like, it's the lover's card. Okay. But meanwhile, a whole guy can do videos about us and call us C words, and people can talk about peas and cannibals, but that's okay.
He's a big
get over that crazy. That was nuts too.
Yeah, well, we're not going to talk about that because he's a P. That's why they love him. He's not a P. He's a C. He's a P and a C. So when P's and C's hate us, that's a compliment. Thank you.
Exactly.
When you're a demon and you hate me, I don't want demons to like me. I want demons to like me. No, I'm their fucking enemy. I'm their worst nightmare.
I know. Anyway, but it was fun. It was fun kind of trolling him, though, I have to say. But anyway.
It was.
Okay, well, I do want to talk briefly. Let's change the subject briefly. I just want to talk about the April 8th eclipse thing. And Sarah, you're our expert on this. Now, this is what I think is bizarre. Okay, and I want to pull cards on this when we're done, you know, after you're done, Sarah. But I mean, honestly, I've never in my had seen an eclipse gonna happen, and they're closing the schools, closing businesses. What do you guys? What say you about this eclipse? I'm floored by it.
Sure. Well, we're going to have the eclipse here. It's actually hitting directly where I live, and they're not closing the school. I'm sending my daughter. They're giving them all eclipse glasses, and it's a great moment for them to see something that's a once in a lifetime event. And I'm really, really happy about it, that my community is not in fear. But I do feel like that some communities, because they're bigger cities or they're like tourist attractions, the reason why they're closing things down is because people are coming there, like a lot of tourists at once. So just like keeping safety and whatnot. I do not feel like anything nefarious is going to happen on this day.
Okay.
I feel like the only thing that's nefarious is these wild and out videos that are trying to scare us about the eclipse. They're trying to loosh off of our energy because this is a huge healing portal. Eclipses are all about change. This is at a Libra degree, and it is in Aries. It's also coming in with this comet. It's called the Devil's Comet because of how it looks. It was not named the Devil's Comet by like ancients. It was recently named that by some scientists like in 1871 or something like that. Or it might have even been like more recently in the 20th century. So it doesn't mean anything demonic. What I really feel like this is about breaking free of old karmic attachments, really asserting ourselves in our own healing journey. It's coming in with this coming in with this comet that's from the Andromedan galaxy, which is also in the Aries constellation. So this is a lot about our personal freedom, about our empowerment, about forging and not following, and also healing a lot of the childhood traumas because it's coming in with Chiron. Now, also on the eclipse, it's not making an aspect, which means it's not making any mathematical angle, but Jupiter and Uranus, the planet of expansion, also the planet of liberation, are coming into a conjunction in Taurus. It's going to come into an exact conjunction a few days later. So to me, that means that Gaia is going to do some kind of movement. So we might see some earthquakes, volcanoes, that kind of thing. But I would not fear, because when we fear, we're not allowing these energies to work with us. These energies are for us. They're not of the dark. God created all these stars, right? He created the comets. He created the heavens. He created the moon. He created the sun. It's all in the Bible, right? All in Genesis. It's on the first page of your Bible. He didn't create it to hurt you. He created it to help you, okay? It's a map of what he wants you to know. They're a map of his messages. That's what astrology is. So when people are skeptical about astrology, I'm like, it's a map of his messages. He created this for us to understand the energies and how to work with them. So don't work with them in a fear-based way. Work with it in a way so you can be liberated from whatever's holding you down, especially like the old themes about, I was called this name as a kid, or someone hurt me as a kid. It's like, it's time to break free of those things. It's time to be our best and highest selves instead of living to those old labels and living in those old storylines. It's time to heal. It's time to shine.
Yeah, I agree. I love that. I know. And the thing is that we have to start cutting the ties from the past, and for the most part, this last probably month or so, couple months, maybe 6 weeks or so, I've been able, I'm totally just letting go of all the crap and just trying to look forward. And this is the other thing, because Delphine was talking about it on her show, about, words matter. And it's true, it's the words, things that we say or even think is gonna shape how you live, first of all, and your future. And the whole idea is that we want to move forward into new horizons, and we can do anything. I mean, we're very gifted individuals, just just as the human race, and we just need to get back to that. We've been eviscerated by this disgusting cabal that has just kept us down for so many years. But I think a lot of us are trying to we're forging ahead. I think those of us that are moving in different directions, like with different businesses, like you guys and me with my book and everything, I think that that God opens the door when you are when you're on the right path, I guess is the way to say it.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. So Delphine, what do you say about all that?
It's just, we've lived through so many eclipses. This isn't our first rodeo. Why are they making a deal out of it? I remember having eclipses when we were kids, and they had the special, the little box thing, the special thing to look through because it would hurt your eyes, whatever it is, the eclipse glasses, or the little, I don't know, that thing that we had. I just feel that if everyone's everyone's in a frenzy about it, if everyone's making a big deal about it, I tend to think that that's BS, because I feel that the energies of the eclipse are good energies, right? Like what you said, Sarah. And I feel like the best thing to do, if they don't want people to partake in the good energies, and if they don't want people going out and getting those good energies, what do? They make people fearful. So I feel like this is an opportunity, just like Sarah said, for us to level up. This is energy for change, to leave the past behind, to really get into our own and to move into a positive movement forward. And what's the best thing for them to do to stop that? To instill fear. So I think that they're lying to us. They want to instill fear. They want us to stay in our home so we don't go out and get all the good energies. That's what I think. And I think that the cabal, just like always, they know that their time is up. They know that they're not going to be around too much longer. So they are going to try to stop and to try to do everything that they can to stop the ascension, to get as much loosh as they can as possible, because they're going down. So I say, don't give in. Don't give in. I mean, I just don't understand it. It's like that. I understand about the traffic and everything, and I get that, Sarah, and I heard that too. But it's just, they're just making such a big deal over this.
And this isn't our first eclipse, like you said.
Media. Yeah.
Yeah, and people are saying, well, it's because it makes like the Hebrew letter Tav. It's like, okay, if you could track like anything, it's going to make some kind of Hebrew letter. Like I know what the Hebrew alphabet looks like. I went to Hebrew school. It looks like all different kinds of shapes. Like the first letter of the Hebrew alphabet is an aleph that looks like an X. There's a lot of X's when you create paths, like flight paths. So when you freak out every time you go on a plane, it looks like this Hebrew letter. Like people are looking for reasons to be scared. And part of it is because we're very distrustful because of how the pandemic completely mishandled and fumbled. So now everybody's mistrusting because everybody's waking up and they're like, well, what's next? Is the eclipse the apocalypse, or is the eclipse an excuse? It's like, no, the eclipse is just another eclipse, and use that eclipse energy like any other eclipse and stop freaking out. Just stop it.
Yeah.
It's looking really silly at this point.
Yeah.
Right.
I agree.
They try to invert everything. So I feel like if anything, they should be afraid of the eclipse, because the eclipse is going to upgrade all of God's children. So they're inverting it. It's them that should be afraid, not us. Right. They should be very fucking terrified, because this is going to level us up.
See, that's what I think. Totally.
Yeah.
All right. Well, okay. So why don't do you want to pull some cards just to see what's going on for this weekend? You want to do that? We just do one poll, I guess. I don't know. What do you guys think? Do you have anything else you want to? What are your thoughts?
You can go first, Sarah. I'll shuffle. I'll just do 3 cards.
Okay. Let me pull some cards then.
Yeah.
And I'll shuffle and I'll
juicy messages from a client. I'll take care of that situation.
Oh, okay.
I went into another world there. I don't know what happened.
I don't have it either. Okay, so basically, what do we need to know about the rest of the week? Some messages for people who are watching. Is that what you would like?
Yeah, let's just do that. Let's just do a general and see what universe has for us. And
all right, I'll do 2 cards since all of us are pulling, because I don't want to. Yeah. Okay. Oh, okay. Oh, I love this. So I feel like a lot of people are starting new projects. We have the Fool card. I mean, we just stepped into the new astrological year. So this is great. A lot of great new energy, a lot of freedom. I know Delphine pulled this card on her show the other night. Didn't you, Delphine?
Yeah.
Yeah. The Fool
card. Yeah.
So this is just about like trying a new path and really like, that there is a lot of protection around us, because in this one, like he's this little boy, he's going on his journey. Okay. He's so jolly. But in the Rider-Waite deck, he's like jumping off the cliff, basically. He knows there's a parachute underneath him. He's fine. Look, creative writing. So I feel like a lot of us might be doing a lot of creative projects. It could be journaling. It could be actually writing a book or a play or a poem. But I think what this is telling us to do is that whatever you want to do for the rest of this astrological year, maybe just write down those goals. And I feel like a lot of creative, amazing endeavors are going to start right now with a lot of excitement. I feel like people are like ready to go, and they're like no holds barred. They're just like, they're not having those like old kind of preconceived notions or those old barriers on them anymore, because they feel more confident and competent. So very, very good energy. I'm excited.
Good. That sounds good. What about you, Delphine? What do you get?
I got two. I'll do 2 cards too. So I got the 2 of Pentacles. So I'm getting that there's going to be a lot of people are going to be very busy this week, and it's going to be hard to kind of balance your time and energy. So I'm getting that. Be sure to take time on your own and rest and recuperate, because this is like if you're burning the candle at both ends and you're not taking time for yourself, your energy gets low, you get sick, and that's where it's easy. You get depressed. So you just make sure that you take time for yourself, balance your energy, make sure you really make use of your time, use your time well, and make sure you don't spend more time doing things that you don't like. Do things like Sarah said, play, do things creative, just feed your soul. I'm getting that we don't feed our soul enough. And this goes along with the Fool card. I got the Death card, because you need an ending before you need a beginning. So this is just very much confirming what Sarah said, that we're on the verge of a major change, a major transformation and transmutation. An ending has to begin before there's a beginning. There's an ending and there's a beginning. So first you have the Death card, and then you move into the unknown to the Fool. So it's very much kind of complimenting what you said.
Interesting. Well, this is what I got. I got the Page of Swords, which means, obviously there's a lot of truths that are going to come out in the next coming weeks. It's going to be on a lot of different people, a lot of different, I think, resources, a lot of different people that are going to come out. I think, definitely the entertainment industry, but I think a lot of the politicians are going to be, I think something's going to happen with that. And then I got a Judgment card. So there's going to be a lot of stuff going on. Isn't that interesting, right? So, the Judgment card is, I think, waking people up, things that are going to come out, the truths that are going to come out. They're going to be, I think people are going to, learn what the hell's going on. And then the bottom of my deck was collaboration cards. So there's a lot of stuff going on behind the scenes, I think. Yeah. And I think that's what we're going to get. So I'm very anxious to see how this all comes out moving forward. And this, we'll see what happens with this eclipse thing. I mean, I don't know if I'll be able to see it. I might be able to see some of it because all the way in Washington. I think the path is what, Texas? It's on the eastern side of the country, right? Because it
doesn't seem like it's going to hit the West Coast. It's more of like the East and Midwest. Yeah.
The East and Midwest, right. So anyway, well, we'll see what happens. So, well, ladies, do you have any parting words that you want to say before we end this? Thank you so much for coming on.
Yeah. And the last thing I just want to say is there's a lot of unity going on now. I think that's why they want to actually take away TikTok and social media and all that, because everybody's seeing it on the same through the same lens. Okay, even though we all have different life experiences, but we're all human beings and we're all born with beautiful intuition, and they try to take it away and steal it from us. But we're all waking up. So have a lot of hope. Don't fall into fear. Don't fall into catastrophic mindset. If you're listening to readers who are saying terrible things about the eclipse, I mean, I don't think they're of the light, at least not right now. They're not working with the light. I'll put it that way. I won't say they're not with the light, but they're not working with the light. So please listen to people who are working with the light so that you feel better. They're supposed to inspire you, not tire you out.
Exactly. Delphine, what say you?
That was beautiful. I love it.
I know.
Now's the time that we have to stop seeking outside influences and approval and getting our decisions and how we feel about things on the outside. Now's the time we have to really, really look inside for approval, for worth, for validation. This is what got us in this mess as a collective so long ago, is that looking for outside. Okay, we need to start looking inside. All right, if something smells off, it's off. If you don't feel right, don't override your intuition with your brain. Use your gut, your intuition. So many times we do that. And that's what got probably half of these kids in this mess, because the parents probably, people saw things, adults saw things, and they just didn't say anything. And another thing, I don't think there's anyone in this community, but your karma is always going to come to you. Karma is a bitch that knows every address, and it doesn't matter who you are. If you do horrible things, God, there's not a crevice, there's not a dark enough hole for you to hide. God will find you, and everything you reap, you sow. So be careful what you put out there, because it's going to come boomeranging back to you. So don't think you can do anything, even if someone's not watching. God and Yeshua are always watching, and you're not going to get away with shit.
Yep, that's right. And I mean, ultimately, what I want to just say is, I mean, that it's so important that we look to God during these times for our strength. And yeah, you have to trust your instinct, trust your intuition. You know, I mean, whenever something is off, I get this weird flutter in my stomach, just like Kirsten Kelly. That's where that came from. You know, when I feel something is off, that's what happens to me. And so just kind of go inside yourself and stay strong, and don't take shit from anybody. I mean, enough is enough, you know. And if you see something, say something. End of story, you know. So, well, thank you guys so much for coming on my show. I have all of the links for Sarah and for Lady D for their website and their YouTube channel. Please go and subscribe to them if you want to book with them, the link description. And other than that, hopefully we'll see you probably in a few more weeks. We'll do another one. So thanks, everybody. Thank you for coming, guys. Appreciate it.
Thanks.
Bye. Bye, guys. See you later. All right.